Life is precious. Moments are precious. From the simple things in life to the greatest achievements, it's the people that guide you, who make you who you are today. It's like they deserve nothing but good things in life. But then,
why do bad things happen to good people?
Millions of Ukraine's children have had to flee their homes
shooting, and this
since
time,
the war began.
gunfire
With UNICEF
aimed at
estimating
elementary school
two-thirds of
children.
A massive explosion has torn through the Lebanese capital, Beirut, killing at least 70 people and injuring more than 3,700.
I lost my family.
A piece of my heart.
To cancer.
to a car crash,
To COVID.
To suicide.
I didn't get accepted.
I failed the test.
I feel afraid. I feel depressed.
It felt like every prayer went awry. It felt like it was all up to me alone. It felt like all the stones were thrown. It felt like this loss was mine, and no one could have known. So we cried to God, why this happened to us? Why did doubt, insecurity, and unhappiness? For we want a God who's manageable, predictable, and controllable. Not a God who tries to embarrass us, or contradict us, or confuse us. A small, safe view of God is what we want. But this isn't the case, especially with a man who's most blameless and upright, who, while shunning evil, faced the most terrible of pains.
Here we start with the story of Job. Rushing in within minutes of each other, 4 servants came in to share terrible news. Job had lost his livestock, his servants, and even his own children. In anguish with this news, Job tore his robe, he shaved his head, and despite everything, he got down on his knees and he praised the name of the Lord.
His friends came and mourned with him for 7 days, but then turned on him for the rest. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, each of whom came to the conclusion that bad things happen to bad people because God is just, the stereotypical view that it's sin and only sin that results in trials. But Job defended his innocence, questioning the circumstances. Like you and me here today. To this, Job questioned God directly. Why do these bad things happen?
And just in time, God came down in a whirlwind and asked, "Where were you when I laid down the foundations of the earth? Can you lift up your voices to the clouds, that an abundance of water may cover you? And have the gates of death been shown to you?"
God doesn't answer the question directly, but the fact that He is sovereign brings a new perspective. God knows our every loss and our every victory. He knows the pain we face when deep down we are hurt by the millions of mistakes, but that pain doesn't take away the fact that God is sovereign. He knows every little thing, from the tiny minuscule atoms to the largest celestial bodies of the universe. There is nothing wrong with our questions, and God invites us to ask them. But we must remember that God has divine will. So why do bad things happen to good people?
Sometimes we suffer so that God can bring us back to the right place, like with Jonah. And sometimes we suffer to bring others to salvation, like with Joseph. And sometimes we suffer for God, to purify our hearts and minds and to build a relationship with Him, like with Job.
For the more closer we are to God, the better equipped we are to handle temptations. We cannot question God's intention because all from Him is for the good, even when it seems bad. And in our sinful nature, how can we call ourselves good compared to the holy God?
even at the cross, in the midst of chaos, God was there. For God, who saw us suffer with sin rotting inside, sent Jesus to take the price, an incomparable amount of agony and pain so that we could be saved. So in our suffering, remember who is sovereign. And in the midst of the storm, it's not about getting around it, but through it. Every circumstance does not and cannot happen without God knowing.
As Job himself said, shall we accept good from God, but not trouble? God gives us a direct response to suffering. We cannot control the ship in the storm.
It is not by our hand nor by our will, but by His that we keep going. So just like Job in his pain, Joseph in his struggle, and Jonah in the whale, let us continue to praise God in the fire, in the shackles, and in the midst of darkness.
So during this turbulent time, remember that Jesus promised us that He would never leave us or forsake us.
If our view of this world is only to find happiness, misery and confusion will follow.
But if our view of this world isn't as training for the next world, then we will find purpose and joy in this life.
Only one life to live. Yes, only one life to live. It will soon be past.
Only what's done for Christ shall last.
Piece of my heart.
I lost my family.
Yes, Mom.
To a car crash.
Go. To get to the next world, then we're.
But Job defended his. What am I saying?
Life is precious.
He saved his head, and he got down on his knees and, oh man.
Some of our questions, and God.
One, go.
Why the bad things happen to good people?
Yes. And why the only one life to live. Yes, only one life to live. It will soon be past.
Only what's done for Christ shall last.